Hello everybody. Welcome to another session of Stay Creative with OPC. We have another Art to Go project for you today that is going to help you ring in the Valentine's season. Before we get started though, I just want to say a thank you to our wonderful sponsor, Anthology Senior Living of Troy. We are very grateful to them for sponsoring our art programs, being a patron of the arts. This allows us to do more to bring to you. So thank you very much, Anthology. Hopefully if you are in the building, you'll get to meet some of them if they visit our art classes, but we are very grateful to them. Okay, let's get started. So as I said, we're going to be doing a little Valentine canvas. And this is a 6x6" canvas. It's a gallery style canvas. So as you can see, the gallery style just means that it has a wider edge than a lot of the canvases, but the nice thing about it is it just can stand up. So you can place this on a mantle, a table, a little side table, wherever you might want to bring in a little Valentine spirit. So it's not a hard technique. Basically, we are doing just some paper crafting and decoupage work, and then we're doing some embellishing in the end. So in your kit, we have included a couple of different styles of paper because it's always hard to know with these kits what someone's taste is going to be. So I tried to include some that are a little bit more natural with some of the butcher paper style and the lighter colors like the one I did here. But then for those of you who like maybe some of the buffalo plaid and the deeper, brighter reds in that, we are including, and that's what I'm going to work on today, some of the little bit brighter colors. You can mix and match them if you want. You can pick one theme. You can do whatever you want. I think there's enough in your kit that you really can come up with a style of your own. So the very first thing you're going to do, my canvas that I'm working on today, because I couldn't find the 6x6 to do the sample, is a little bit different size. I think mine's a 5x7, but it doesn't matter. And you might have enough in your kit. Say you do one and you want to try another one, you can go to Michael's or Joann's and buy these little canvases with your coupons, and you probably have plenty of papers to make another one or two more. So the very first thing you've got to do is kind of pick out what papers you like, and this part is just experimenting. You're not going to be putting anything down right away, so if you don't like something, you can go back and forth and make your decisions. I think I'm going to start with this buffalo plaid, and one of the things that you'll just need to have are scissors and rulers and some tape that we don't supply, but I think those are things all of you have. So the very first thing, I think I'm going to go this direction because I'm going to show you how, because this canvas has edges, you don't want to just work on the top. Part of the collaging, as we're going to call it, is going to be all along your edges as well. So you're going to cover all the front and sides of the canvas. So I think I am going to start now. You can cut, you can rip. If any of you have a paper cutter for scrapbooking at home, you could use that, whatever you want. But cut off these edges. I'm going to start by cutting, and then I'll show you some ripping. I think we did this before in one of our other projects, and it just gives a little bit more interesting edge. So we're going to cut. I think I'm going to start maybe about here. And I'm going to, I think, wrap this along my edges. You could just wrap one edge if you want, like I wrapped this one here, but put a piece going down the opposite direction like that. So whichever way you want to do, you're going to kind of measure, crease that, and then I know where to cut. Now, you can do this however you want, but I wouldn't start the decoupage process quite right away. I think I'd get some of your papers laid in, and then you can continue. Once you get a kind of a base, you can get some decoupage going. I always think it's a good idea just to take a little piece of tape and just, you got to be careful you're not going to rip though. You might even want to do it on the underside. I think that might be better. Let's do that. I did it the other way on my sample, but all papers are different. So just stick a little piece of tape just so it'll hold in place, okay, until you get some of your things going. Now, I think I'm going to take some of this, and you can just rip naturally. I don't know, so I'm sure you can see all this. See kind of the interesting edges you get when you rip? Or you can rip with a ruler, and that just gives you a little rougher edge, but and you'll find when you rip, the direction you're ripping makes a difference as to where that edge appears. But see how kind of cool that looks? I mean, it just blends in nicely with that. So this, I think I'm going to just do the exact width of the canvas. So let's see. I think I might even need to take off just a tiny bit more. And we'll do this. Now, in your kit, you also have a lot of words. I copied some things from the dictionary for you on love, affection, that kind of thing. And then there's this one sheet that has like just some words about love. Love is patient, love is kind, that type of thing. So I think with this black and white, I kind of like, your kit also gives you some that are more the sepia tone. So, and there's some musical scores and things like that. So depending which route you're going, as far as which papers you choose, you can decide whether you want the ones that are sepia toned or black and white. I think for this one, I like the black and white better. So I think I am going to, we got to make some decisions here. Let's just do maybe a little love is patient, love is kind thing. And you know, you might even at home, and this was one of the things I put in the directions of your kit, you may have, say, a really nice photograph of someone you love, or just a place you've been, or something like that, and you could add that kind of thing in too. So, you know, that's totally up to you. You might have some things of your own that you might like to add. Maybe you have even, I'll tell you, I have a lot of my mother's old cards. And wouldn't that be cool to take a part of an old card and add that to it as well? That would be really neat. But you could do something like this. Now, I like it best when every area is filled. So I think you've got some sheets too that have hearts. So I think I'm just going to cut out a heart here. Like I said, you know, you just got to kind of get it going. I'm not going to do the entire thing here today because I think it might just take too long, longer than you might want to sit watching me. So we'll just get some of the basics in, and then we'll go on to the next step. So this step is collaging. Okay, this is what I call this as far as an art form. I just call it a collage. And a collage just means taking all kinds of different materials and putting them together. You do need to, you know, think of some design form as you're doing it. But I think that looks kind of cool, just like that. Now, I probably need something along the bottom here. And I do have some of this paper, so I think I'm just going to cut myself a piece that's going to go across and set that in behind. And that one I think I may not rip, I'm just going to cut. So then, so you can see it's kind of a process of building. And when you do your decoupaging, you are going to have to build. So we've got this. We probably have enough here just to start to kind of show you how we're going. So I kind of like what I got going right here. And I think before I start gluing this down, I'm going to show you a little bit about doing your edges, okay? Because I found a technique that I think kind of works a little bit better. let's just say, I mean, really, you don't even have to worry about it, what it says. Whoops, this is where the tape probably is a good idea to have, but it just depends how many little pieces you have. I think along the bottom here, I am just going to do a piece that will be one of the sides, the edges. Now, I think what's best here is kind of to measure. We've got, mine is 7 inches by just under 2, but I'm gonna do it 7 by 2 because I found that if you do the edge and you bring it up a little bit underneath the front side, underneath one of the papers, I think that it helps so that you don't get little white edges in between. And I think one thing I didn't bring was a pencil, so I'm just gonna measure from here. 7. Okay, so I'm gonna go right to the top, and this should be about my 7 inches. Now this is an absolute necessity. If you just want to piece it and not wrap up, you can do that too. But I just found if you don't want to see a white edge, it is a little trick that helps. So then we're gonna do this about 2 inches, which we'll do right about here. This might be a little bit too much, but since I don't have a pencil, I'm just doing it this way. You know, you try to think of everything before you film these, but sometimes. Okay. Just pick a paper that coordinates in nicely with what you have going on the front side. So I think I'd start that first. Now I think this might be a little bit too much. So I'm going to take a little bit more off. And having a pencil, you'll get it measured a little bit better. So you see, you have just this little bit of extra. And I would put some of your edge papers on first and put them so that they actually, this would be my first piece I glue. I'm gonna glue it right, or decoupage it right underneath there. So again, I would do that on all of my pieces all the way around. And consider, again, wrapping pieces from the front to the back, just to give it a little bit more interest. Again, like this one, you could rip. I had put down a piece of butcher paper first, then a piece of the music paper, then wrapped this one up. So there's all kinds of things you can do. You can kind of experiment with that. So once you have your pieces kind of laid in place, then we're ready to start adhering them. And in your kit, you have a little 2-ounce jar of Mod Podge. This should be plenty for you to do this. So you kind of want to shake it up first. Let's hope my arthritic hands can get it open. And you're ready to go. And then you have a foam brush in your kit as well. Now, Mod Podge sometimes dries kind of fast, so you gotta be, when you're ready to go, don't think about stopping in the midst of all of this. So I think this one I can remember pretty well what I've got going. So anything you have that's folded up onto the canvas, I would try to adhere first. So I find it's best to just put your Mod Podge onto the paper as opposed to the canvas. I just feel like it stuck a little bit better for me when I did it that way. But if you want to try the canvas first, you're okay too. And I feel like it kind of didn't absorb everything quite as quickly, so just the gluability of it seemed better to me. Okay. And if something wasn't quite perfectly even, this is where you could trim it. Don't worry if every piece is sticking down at this point perfectly, because in the end, when you're all done, you're going to put a whole coat of Mod Podge over everything. Now, I am not going to have my entire thing done like you will before you Mod Podge, but okay, so then the next step you want to look where you're building. I think I'm going to take this one off and Mod Podge this piece on. Move that up a little so maybe you could see a little better here what I'm doing. And we usually always include a piece of butcher paper into any kit where anything's really messy, so you can have that down for you so you don't mess up your table. But if you need more, you know, any kind of newspaper, old paper bags, anything like that would work too if you do this on your own. So I kind of had this towards the center. And I had, you know, where my little fold was. You can see it does dry pretty quick though, so don't worry if you get it off at another part of the canvas, because in the end, everything's going to be Mod Podged. But you do want to be sure you're kind of pressing, smoothing, because you don't want to get air bubbles in things. Okay, so this was our next piece. Some of the papers are thicker than others because in some of them we gave you the actual pieces, but some I didn't have enough of and I made copies of, so you know, they are different weights. So you might need a little bit more on the heavier scrapbook paper. Let's see. Now, what I would do before I put these pieces on though would be to decide what you're going to put on these other sides as well. And I think that we'll just, if you want to do this like wrapping method that I just showed you, not to see the white, that will help there. But it's not absolutely necessary either, so. Okay, now here's my other piece. I'm gonna do that. So I'm putting on like my major big pieces first. I just love that ripping too. I think that really adds to the texture of it. The ripping just gives a texture which is nice. Everything's not so even. But then again, I'm not the most matchy-matchy person always, so. Okay, so we got this. So now see, if you had a piece you were putting here on the front edge, I would have put that before I put this piece down. And that way it wraps up over it. Okay, and then we're gonna do, I want some of that buffalo plaid to still show, so I don't want to cover it all. I really like that. And this here too. So again, you want to take, this will be my last piece because this is on top of this heart. So I'm going to do this heart next. It's a building process. And that's what you have to look at when you're putting it down, is what piece is on the bottom and what pieces are on the very top. And you know, you do have a little brush in your kit too, so if when you kind of get towards the end, there's pieces that are sticking up a bit, you can take your little tiny brush to get underneath, but I'll show you that as we get going. Okay, and then get this piece on. This is really fun. I always loved collaging. You know, collage is just a great art form. Really, you can do this on any surface. If you had a flat canvas, you could just, this is something you can do with things you have at home. Little mementos with newspaper, just paper bags, with everything. And you can see by ripping, you get all kinds of other different effects. So, basically, we have our piece going. Now, at this point, when I have all my edges done and the front done, maybe I don't quite have everything I want on it, but I think I would go ahead and add my top layer of Mod Podge. Then you can always add a little bit more as you go along. And in the very end, we have some different embellishments, but you know, I don't want to take up too much of your time, so okay. You have things down. Now it's going to look kind of milky right now, but that's okay because that's going to go away. And just be sure, like I said, as you were putting things down, that you were smoothing so that you're not getting a lot of wrinkles, okay? like I said, it looks milky, but that part will dry clear and it will adhere. So now again, if there was a little spot at this point that you're going, oh, it's just not staying down, just dip the little brush into the Mod Podge and lift and get underneath it, and you should be able to get everything down nicely. Ooh, I like this one. I like the black and white. So then you want to do your edges and everything too. Now, again, you probably are at this point are going to have all your edges and sides done, where mine is not, just for the sake of doing the video. Trying to get it underneath there. And do this edge. See, there were spots where it didn't totally adhere, so you can get underneath as you're going along. And just go in one direction. You see it's already drying. It really dries up pretty quick. Go back if you've got any little blobs anywhere, just kind of feather them in. Feather, feather, feather. And we're all set. Now, if you're going to be doing more Mod Podge, you may want to just put your brush into a little baggie. I'll put the cover on this. And then if you're going to reuse it within a short amount of time, then you can just do this and then wash them in the end. I always don't like when you get too much water in things, so if you keep washing your brush, then the sponge gets watery and all of that. So if you are going to be reusing within a short period of time, within an hour or so, this usually works out great. Okay, so now you're going to give it a little bit of time to dry. So this might be a time that you start thinking about, okay, what else do I want to add? Like maybe there is another word somewhere that you'd like to put in, or maybe you can kind of think about, like there are some stickers and things like that, but obviously this kind of thing can't be put on until everything's dried up. But like a little XO might be kind of cute. That might be kind of cute there. Now keep in mind you are going to put some string, some jute along this. So be sure that wherever you're hanging that or putting that you don't have something you really want to see. There are also in your kit some little stickers, little hearts, that type of thing. Everybody has a key and a charm. I'm just showing you this now because I'm waiting for this to all dry up, but everyone has a key and a charm. Now maybe you have some special things you want to add. Maybe you have some special charm from your mother's bracelet and you want to add that in. That would be really kind of cool. Or, you know, a special key. This is supposed to be like a little key to your heart thing. Maybe you have some little special beads from a bracelet or something like that you want to add, and that would be great too. So in your kit also there are a lot of little doodads and things that just you can add, little words. There's hearts. Maybe I could like even cut another heart off of this and put that in. So kind of check out what you've got in your kit and what you think you might want to add. Now I'm still kind of waiting for this to dry a little bit, and I didn't put my hair dryer out here for this, but everybody has some twine, and then there's also some like red chenille type cord. So that'd even kind of be cute on this, but I don't know, I like a little bit more natural. You could also put two of the things together if you'd like. But anyway, there's probably about 3 yards of this, so you can decide how much of this you want to use. And we're going to wrap it around the canvas. Now this is a little different shape than yours, so I always say kind of divide it in half. And then just wrap around. did this in our other project this time too. The little house project that we did, the Home Sweet Home sign. Now mine's still a little damp. I would want you to wait a little bit longer than this till yours is totally dry. But we'll start on this, and that way hopefully it will be dry enough to put on a few embellishments. But you may want to do the embellishments before you put this and make this your very last step. However, because of the drying factor here, I'm kind of doing it the opposite way, but it doesn't really matter. See it, like right here, there's a little piece that's coming up, so we can still touch that up. Probably all the way along you're going to find little areas that didn't stick quite as well as you might have wanted it to, so you can go back at any time and touch those up. I think I'll go one more time around. You can see you just go along the back. Okay, and then you're going to tie a knot. And you got to kind of decide where you want that key to hang. I think I'm going to put it just to the right side of the little love heart. And then you do want to take this twine and wrap it around the whole bunch. And then do a nice double knot. And you can raise or lower this a little unless you tied it just so tight. And then at this point, you want to string in your key. And again, do another little double knot. Everybody has a little charm in your kit, so you might want to add that in now as well. That little silver goes pretty with this red and black, I think. We gave you extra of this so you can use as much as you want. And then I just kind of say double knot stuff. And then you can trim. Now, if you wanted, you could add a little piece of the red in for just a little bit more interest. Or, you know, you could even double your strands. Maybe not do as many times around with the jute, but actually put these two together when you're wrapping. Put the jute and put the red, and then wrap. So it just depends. We just gave you a choice, you know. Maybe these I'll cut like a little bit lower. Just have it. See, how's that? It's really coming along. So at this point, we can do a little bit more embellishing if we want. Again, you can do the embellishment before you put the jute on, but again, I did it this way because of the drying factor. And then I think I'll add a few of my stickers. X, O. It's pretty dry now, so just be sure whenever you do put your embellishments on that everything that you've done is totally, totally dry. Ooh, I kind of like these XOXO, that's kind of cute. And everybody probably has a few different things in their kit as far as embellishments go, but we tried to give you a variety. That looks cute. Maybe just a couple little stickers like that. How cute is that? Just simple and nice. And again, look at the difference between the two. This one's the little bit lighter pastel, a little bit more rustic with the butcher block, and this is your brights. You can combine both of them as you want, if you want. And then don't forget too about adding in some special things of your own, because that's what really makes it you. And you know, really, when you put these up, depending on what you use. I mean, saying be mine might be a little bit more Valentine's-y, but if you just use the word love or affection or other things like that, these really could be things that could be up all year round, because love is a year-round thing. So anyway, you be the one to design it and do what you see as part of you, and be creative in your own special way. And then don't forget, we really want to see some of the things you've done. So in your directions in your kit is my email address, and I would love you to email me your finished product. And we could put them out on Facebook. We can, just, kind of spread the word. We could put it in an e-blast or something like that. But it'd really be fun to see, for other people to see how people here through OPC are keeping creative during these different times in our life. So don't be bored. Don't say you don't have anything to do, because you can call us and order a kit, and we will have it ready for you to pick up curbside. Enjoy crafting, enjoy being creative. It's really an important thing during these times to just keep your mind going, being creative. It creates a sense of calm. You just kind of get lost in it, and that's what we need right now. So hopefully you can all enjoy doing this. Thanks for joining us today.